Caleb here again. We're going to be doing part 2 from the first video where we went through Matthew chapter 5. We did verses 1 through 26, and now for the first part we're going to be doing chapter 5 verses 27 through 30, just for the first part, and then we're going to keep going, see how far we can get. It's going to be a tough one. This is going to be an ESV version, which is English Standard Version. So yeah, we're going to be doing that. So let me just start us off in a word of prayer before we get going. Dear Lord, I just want to thank you for this day, this opportunity to spend time in your word, and hopefully get some good stuff out of it. I just pray that this word may speak to us, may speak to me, and that the thoughts that come to mind may be spoken. I just pray for me to be able to be vulnerable and just say the tough stuff. I just want to pray for this beautiful day, and thank you for this opportunity to be on earth for another day. It's a beautiful day out, and I pray that the rest of the day may continue to be beautiful, and that I may just, in every action I do, just may showcase your love for us, and someone may be able to see that, and seed may be able to be planted. So in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so let's get started. This is Matthew chapter 5, verses 27. This is Sermon on the Mount. This one's when he talks about lust. He's going through the 10 Commandments, and basically explaining them further. So it says, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. For it is better that you lose one of your members than that your whole body be thrown into hell. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better for you to lose one of your members than that your whole body go into hell." It's a lot. I'm gonna complete honesty, that's a lot right there. So he's referring to the commandment where it says, you shall not commit adultery. I think the way he explains it is just expands on it more. That's just the way you look at someone, just your thoughts, even that is sinful in that nature, and that even if you haven't actually done anything with anyone or looked at anything, just the way you think of a woman or the desires you have for them, that can even be sinful. And that's hard. That's actually that's tough, at least personally for me, because I know living in a hookup culture, going to college, it's tough because you're constantly surrounded by these things and these people, and so it's not easy. And I've had my fair share of failures and sinning in this area, and it takes a toll on you for sure, and it's not easy to get out of. It's a constant battle every day. You're always going to be struggling with it. You're always going to have these problems, but in the end of the day, it's a blessing to have these struggles, because I know, at least personally for me, my thought is I'm going through something better. I'm working towards something, and that people are going to be able to see what I'm doing and how far I've come, and use it as an example for themselves, and just to showcase what God has done in my life. Because personally, this has been lust has been a big issue for me. So this is just something that has like this is a tough one for me, like, so honest with you. It's a tough one, but you know, it's a battle every day, and you have to actively choose to win. And you can only win with God. Like, that's something that I came to find out, is that um, if you try and do it on your own, you're not going to be able to. If you try and stop on your own, if you try and like not get involved in anything, or you know, you try and enter a relationship or whatnot, and you know, you try not to look at stuff. But if you do it on your own, you're gonna fail every time. 10 times out of 10, you're gonna fail. But when you realize that, when you realize it's a hopeless battle, that's when the real journey begins, because that's when you can start to rely on God for it, and start to be like, God, I can't even do this on my own. That's when you give it to Him. And when you give it to Him, it's still not easy. Like, it doesn't get any easier, but it's reassuring to be able to be like, I'm on the winning side, and like, I know that it will end someday. It will be done, and there'll be a day where I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's just reassuring, especially like as you get older. You learn to get better at things, especially like when it comes to giving it to God. Like when I say like giving it to God, you know, it's not just like, oh, I give it and my problems go away. It's like, God, only you can do this. Like, I know I'm gonna keep falling short, but only you can do this. So like, show me the ways. What do I have to do to give it to you? You know, and that might be like, when you see something, like, look away, or when you see something, like, do something else instead, or when you think of something, go do something, and He'll give you the way out. He'll always give a way out. That's something I've also noticed, is like when I'm in those moments of lustful intent or action, there's always like something that happens, or something that I could do to get a way out, or to not. He's always like wanting you not to. And lust is, I don't want to say it's like very impactful, but it affects not just yours, but someone else's soul too. And it can be very damaging in the long run. And it's tough, you know, because the more you're in it, the more damage you're gonna have to heal later on in life. And it sucks. Like, it sucks, but it's a beauty being able to have that. So yeah. And then when it says, if your right eye causes you to sin, throw it out. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it out. This can, like, I've been seeing like people have been taking this like very literally, and like, you should like literally cut your hand off, but I don't think he's saying you should like hurt yourself to stop sinning. He's saying like, he's just showcasing how important and damaging the sin can be. That you really have to be like self-conscious, and actively like making a effort to not. Because the thing is, lust is so close to love, it's hard to tell apart sometimes, especially when you're not constantly in the Word, or you're not, you know, super close with God. It's tough to be able to know, especially like in a relationship, like, is this love, is this lust? And it can be very tough, at least personally in my experiences. I know I've dealt with a lot of lustful relationships thinking they were love, but they really weren't. And you know, if you have to ask yourself for that, is this lust or is this love? It's more likely going to be lust if you can feel like, if you feel that it is, if you have to question yourself that much, that is it lust or is it love, it's probably just lust. And you just want to blind yourself to the idea that it is love, because it's attention from someone, and who doesn't like attention from someone, special attention at least. So yeah, I know that's a tough one, but you know, I think he's just saying the importance of like that sin, and that like even if it's just your eye looking at someone, even if it's just looking at someone in a certain way or looking at a certain thing, that's right there is still like, that's the start of it, So that's like the beginning of it all. And if you just let that happen, you're just going to sin. So if you can't even, stop it at the start, you might as well just chop it off, man. I think that's that's what he's saying. But yeah, it really just comes down to the way you think. And when you look at someone, what your first thoughts are, what you first look at. And it's tough, It's a constant battle, but over time it gets easier. Like, you could look at someone and be like, oh, she's attractive, or oh, she's hot, or like, oh, I could hit. But it's like, those are the ones that, like, you have to stop. You have to, like, be like, hey, that's a woman of God, or that's a man of God right there. I don't want to be thinking those thoughts. And so it's tough. It very much is, it's tough. And I don't think this just specifically applies to men. I think this can also apply to women. Because as this world continues to spiral downward, it's affecting both man and woman. And so it really starts with how you think and what your thoughts are. And I know, like, some days it's easy, some days it's hard. And, like, you're like, dang, why do I just keep thinking these thoughts? And that's when you have to run to God even more. When you're having those struggling times, that's when you have to run to him even more. And it's also, like, it's tough, especially with a bunch of pride, because you're always that. Because at least personally for me, I'm always like, I want to do this on my own. I want to be able to fix this on my own, But really, I can't, and that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it right there. That God literally says we're not going to be able to do this on our own, and yet we're still trying to do it on our own. And I think that just shows that he knows us so well, and that he's there for us. So yeah, just putting your trust and faith in God. Like, you can say that, but then when it comes actually time, it's it's not easy. Like, I know myself, it's not easy to do. But it takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of just leaps of faith, or bounds of faith. I don't know. But yeah. But yeah, from 29 to 30, I think he's really just stressing the point that, you really just want to be careful, and that just the way you look at someone or what your hands do, that will lead to lust, and that essentially basically is the lust part. Okay, so we're gonna get on to the next part where it talks about divorce, which is chapter 5, verses 31 to 32. Short, but there's a lot to unpack there. So for this, it says, it was also said, whoever divorces his wife, let him give her a certificate of divorce. But I say to you that everyone who divorces his wife, except on the ground of sexual immorality, makes her commit adultery. Whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery. I think nowadays this is very, people have had a lot of problems with this, or a lot of debates over this, whether or not you should divorce. And it talks more about this in, I think it's First Corinthians. It talks more about this. But I think what he's aiming at is the point that, like, if you're in a godly relationship and you two are both godly married, the only reason you would be divorcing is if it's for some sexual immorality reason, or like the only way like you could see is if the other person committed adultery. I think that's what he's saying. Like, if you're in a godly relationship and you want to divorce, it's probably out of that reason, or I don't know. That's what it's speaking to me. But I know there's a lot of things that go into people getting divorces, but I think he's just saying if that's one of the reasons you want to get divorced because you want to do that, it's it's not a you got a problem with yourself you need to work on, you and God need to work on, if that's one of the reasons you want to divorce. But I also understand there's a lot of other reasons, like abuse or like suffering or something, or coming to faith later on in life when you're already married and stuff like that. But in 1 Corinthians, it talks about it more and it explains it more in depth, which I think is good. But so yeah, that's definitely a very controversial topic, I think, or debate nowadays. I know there's been a few denominations that have split off into their own things because of it, and personally, I don't know. I haven't had the thought of divorce or divorcing, considering I'm yet to be married. But hopefully I'll never have to have that thought or come. But things happen. We are in a fallen world, so we don't know. But so yeah, if you want more, or if you want to know more about it, we can look into it, or you can on your own time. 1 Corinthians, it talks more about it in there. So yeah, we're now going to look into chapter 33 to 37. This one's talking about oaths and like promises. It says, "Again, you have heard that it was said to those of old, you shall not swear falsely, but shall perform to the Lord what you have sworn. But I say to you, do not take an oath at all, either by heaven, for it is the throne of God, or by the earth, for it is his footstool, or by Jerusalem, for it is the city of the great king. And do not take an oath by your head, for you cannot make one hair white or black. Let what you say be simply yes or no. Anything more comes from evil." That definitely is a little bit of a switch up from the first two things we talked about. But this is talking about oaths, and shall not swear falsely, shall do it by God or by the Lord. But then Jesus is saying, don't take an oath at all by heaven or by Jerusalem. I think what he's saying is like, because nowadays we'll say like, I swear, or like, on my mom I didn't do this, or on whatever I didn't do this. I think that like right there, like I think he's trying to say is if you're so focused on trying to get someone to believe you, and you have to swear on something that important, you've probably like told you've like, I don't know, been not truthful or not honest with your oaths, or not fulfilling with your promises. So I think that's why he says let what you say be simple yes or no, and then over time, like if you are really doing something, like when someone asks you to do something, you just say yes. That yes is going to be more impactful than a I promise I'll do this. A simple yes will be so much more impactful, and especially, or a no will also be impactful. I think that's what he's trying to say. Just like make it simple and be honest with what you're doing, what you can and can't do. And I think this comes down to honesty. Like if you're not an honest person, you're gonna try and do whatever you can to make them think you're honest, even if it comes to false swearing, or trying to perform a promise or an oath under the Lord. So I think that's just something to take from that one. So just a little recap. So we went over lust, divorce, and oaths, or like promises. I think all of those are very important for today, especially with the world we live in now and the current state of it, especially with like the ability to just make false promises, lie, divorce, get out of a situation that even if you got yourself into it, the ability to get yourself out without any much of a consequence or anything, or lust, which is a huge problem in today that we're all struggling with, even if it's just little thoughts here and there. So I encourage you, if you ever are struggling with anything, with lust at all, please reach out. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something to be afraid or like if you're keeping yourself from telling someone or expressing the problem to someone because you feel shame, trust me, majority of people are also struggling with this. Most people are either at different stages in your life with the struggle, and the more people that are willing to take that step of faith and come out and express what's wrong with them, other people are going to be able to help. Because I know I had this really bad moment where I was like struggling hard, and I was just like, gosh, I really just wanted to tell my one friend about it, and it took so much like courage and just blind faith, and I told him, and he was like, bro, don't even worry about it, I got you. And he like flooded me with like scriptures and stuff to help me, and it literally just like I felt like flooded with love from like my good friend. And it just took that, like it took being able to take a leap of faith and ask for help, and I think that's something we all struggle with, is just asking for help, even with little things. Even like literally like yesterday I was out with my friend and we were talking. I was like, yeah bro, my thoughts just haven't been the greatest, I've been struggling with my thoughts. And he's like, bro, me too, don't worry about it. We all have hard times, even if it's just little things like our thoughts, even if it's just like, oh, I was angry at someone or something happened, even just the little things. If you tell someone about it, if you just express the need for help, people will come and help, because we're all just trying to get through life and trying to be good, just trying to live better, especially in this fallen world. We need some people that are gonna gather together and want to help each other, and especially in like a loving and caring way. There's definitely different ways to help someone, but I think the easiest way is to just show love and care for them, and just to be there for them. So yeah, if you ever have problems with lust, or any questions about those three things, or any thoughts, just let me know or comment down below. If you have any prayer requests or any questions or anything that you want discussed about, just comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on these, and yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.